Some men just want to watch the world burn.
Let the good times roll!
What's up everybody, I'm of course the one there, the Joker of YUGIOH, and today I want to be bringing you guys some trade tips. So, I want to be bringing you guys this video for a few reasons. Number one, because I gave you guys my trade binder video just Wednesday, and number two, I've seen a lot of mistakes in trading. I've seen it go so many times, and I thought, why not make a video on it to hopefully help you guys out, and hopefully that's exactly what this video does. So, without further ado, let's just jump onto my personal top tips on how to trade and personally how to make sure you don't get ripped off through trades. So number one tip is look good, smell good. Now this isn't actually about getting ripped off, but this is just about personal being. If you look good and you smell good, chances are people are going to want to trade with you more, because if you're smelling really bad, guarantee nobody's going to be wanting to be around you for a long period of time. Now it's just a personal hygiene thing of, like, if you're going to a tournament or if you're the guy playing, if you're the guy trading, whatever, look good, smell good is a key thing of people actually will want to be around you. If you don't have that, then people are going to be trying to avoid you. You're not going to get trades, you're not going to get anything because nobody's going to be around you. Other than that though, here are some of my more personal favorite tips. So number two is actually, don't go in with a tin. And I want to make that rhyme. Don't go in with a tin. And the reason I say this is because if you have a tin, you open these cards up, look at that. You are no way able to categorize that in a way that you can remember every single card that you're going to have in that tin. Whereas if you got yourself a nice folder. Now you can have those thicker ones, you can have the ones that have the straps. I personally have 3 different folders, have stuff that is categorized. It's a lot better. And the reason I say this is, you can easily look through your folder, and if you see one card that you know is supposed to be there, if it's in alphabetical order or whichever order you like, if it's through deck calls and all that, and you see a card you know that you haven't traded, it's because someone that you just traded with has taken that card whilst you looked away for a split second. You can easily go up to them and say, hey, I know what you did. And it would literally take a second. But if you're also watching them with the folder, it's a lot easier to do than if you're watching them with the tin. So personally, don't bring a tin. They're primarily just for commons. So if you really want to trade your commons, try and do it in a more, place where you can easily watch them. And that's why I easily prefer the folders. You can watch your stuff. It's a lot more easy to go through. You can organize your cards a lot better. And also it doesn't get them damaged. Number 3 is, if you're trading or selling any of your cards, check the prices. Now, if you go in with a folder and you have it organized that you've got $1 cards, $2 cards, $3 cards, $4 cards, $5 cards, excellent. You are a genius. You're a smart person doing that. I don't have the time to do that. I did it once before, but it just takes too long. The card prices fluctuate so much that doing that for me is just too time consuming. But if you have the time to do that, it's absolutely great. It can really help you in the long run, because if someone comes up and is like, oh, I want this, oh, it's $1, okay, $2, and instead of them constantly asking you, they can easily say, yeah, roughly $1 and all that. And saying that though, that can also be a backfire on your half, because if you haven't been checking them every single day, a card one day maybe you put it down for $2, but maybe the next day it could be $5, so already you've got to watch yourself on that. And that's why personally, when people want to trade with me, I'm checking that Troll and Toad. I'm also checking TCG Player. And for a third one, I may even check eBay. Now, eBay isn't a guaranteed one, but go on to the selling error. Because where it actually says selling, you can actually check how much it's been selling for, and that can actually help you a lot more. Because knowing what a card has been selling for, how much a person has been buying for it, TCG Player might say, oh yeah, it's only worth $1 or $2. But if on eBay it says, oh yeah, people have been selling it for 50 cents, try and cut a deal with that person. Understand that, yeah, on TCG Player they say it's worth this, but that's also sending package and postaging and all that. And I've seen people get ripped off by this if you don't check it. Sometimes I forget to check it and I get ripped off. Sometimes, I think it's worth one thing, I tell something, I'm really sorry when I actually, do that with someone, but they've double checked and it's a lot better. I say, oh yeah, I'm really sorry about that. I was just told one thing and it's the other, which is perfectly fine. You're not trying to scam the person if you are doing it by accident, but just on both behalves, make sure you both know what the cards are worth so neither is getting ripped off. From there, here's a little tip that I personally like to go by. It's think, do you really need it? Is it going to help you right there and then? And I say this because there are so many cards out there. Yes, if you're a collector, this rule doesn't apply to you. But if you are just a player, this rule does. If you're a collector, go out, get the cards you want, absolutely great. Just think, do you really need that card right now, or can you probably save the money, put it towards something else? If you're a collector, think about that, which I'm pretty sure you guys already do. If you're on the playing side, think, do you actually want the card? Do you actually need the card to actually benefit you? Because I say this, what if the card is too expensive? If the card is too expensive, think, do I really need this? Do I really want this? Go from there. If it's only $1.50, why not? But if it's like $50 and you're not actually going to use it, probably think again, okay, maybe I can trade for something else. Maybe I can trade for something I'm going to use. And because that way, you're not going to have all those cards you're not going to use. And at the same time, if you get that card, and even though it's worth $50 there, a few weeks later, it may only be worth half that. So you've got to think about that. If you're not going to use it, think, can you actually benefit from it in any other way? Other way to also get further ahead in trading is, of course, be nice to the people that you're trading with. If you're trading with someone, make sure you're nice to them. Don't be, a douche. Don't be anything of an asshole to them, because those people that you're trading with, maybe down the line, at that moment, yeah, sure, they may not have the card that you want. But if you're a dick to them there's 9 out of 10 that they're probably going to remember it, and they're not going to want to trade with you later down the line. So even if they don't have the card there, just say, hey, it's all good. Let's try and figure out a trade one day. And maybe down the line, you may both have the cards that each other wants. But just keep that in mind, because you may potentially have a trade buddy. And if you do actually trade at that point, don't kick them to the curb. Keep on actually trusting that person. You help them, they help you. Have an ongoing relationship with the trade and can potentially help you later on with your trade. So, of course, that's just the way to easily make it. And, of course, the biggest rule, before I want to do this video really quickly, the biggest rule is, of course, don't get ripped off. Now, I know I'm saying that in a trade video, and it's all like, trade tips of, yeah, of course, we don't want to get ripped off. You probably think of that. Yeah, I know. And all of the things I've said of, like, check the prices, make sure, you've got the right stuff. Have a folder you can check your stuff so you're not seeing that anything's been stolen. Don't bring it in because the cards get damaged, the cards get stolen. It doesn't even take 5 seconds for a person to steal a card. 5 seconds, 5 cards gone easily. They could go 5 seconds, look through your folder. Look how quick it is to just be like, oh yeah, look through your folder. 1, 2, take the cards, bam, it's mine now, and you're not going to see that. People have done that. I've seen people do that. And, people have called each other out on it, and I love when people get called out for that, because it's like, and people have been kicked out of locals. They have been permanently banned from areas because they have stolen, and that's what I absolutely love. If you see that, make sure you call someone out. But here's my tip on mainly how to not get ripped off online. So I know I've said my other rules of, like, check the prices, make sure you're watching them, make sure they're, aware of what the cards are. Don't say, hey, take the cards out. In fact, if they want to take the cards out, if you're having a one-on-one trade, that's fine. Go, you know what, take the cards out. I'll hold on to them until you've got all the cards that you want, and we'll go from there. That way, it's a lot better because you've got all the cards, you're watching them, and it's better doing a one-on-one trade. That's another tip for you guys. Do one-on-one trades. Don't do, try and do 3 different trades at the same time. Even if all 3 have the same cards, try and do 1 at a time, because those other 2, you're not watching them carefully. You may have never met them before. I'm not judging, I'm not prejudging, but you never can be too careful. So just be mindful of that, guys. Be very careful on who you're trading with. If you've been trading with this person for a really long time, maybe try and get them to speed up a little bit so you can trade with the other people. I know I've been through that where it's like they take a really long time and it does get really annoying. So try and speed the people up so it can potentially benefit you. But here's my rule for trading online. If you're trading online, it's very, very particular on how to do it. It's very careful and, it's very risky, because if you're going to that person, you've messaged them, they've messaged you, and you just keep on chatting and all that, and then you say, oh yeah, I've sent the cards, and they go, yeah, I've sent the cards. They even take pictures and all that. The cards haven't arrived. They then block you. because clearly they haven't sent the cards and you've just lost your cards. Be mindful that can happen, and that's why I don't personally like trading online. Unless I've got tracking, unless I've got some way of making sure I get my money or making sure I get any of that back, you know, it really does suck. Even if I've traded with my mates, there are a few times I've traded with my mates online. We have traded fine in the past, and the way me haven't received those cards and they haven't received the cards is actually because of the posting companies, which is another thing to be mindful for. Some postage places, they tend to lose mail somehow. I don't know how, but you've got to be mindful of that. So the best way you can possibly avoid getting ripped off is, number one, don't trade online. If you really want that card, you know, if you really want to risk it, sure. If you really want to go ahead, sure. I mean, saying don't trade online is a really hard thing to say, but I mean, unless you fully trust that person, unless you've been able to get a relationship with that person, unless you can somehow contact them more than one way, you've got them in group chats, you can hunt them down, you've got references on them. And what I mean by this is you actually get multiple different references of proof that, yeah, these people are not scammers. If all that goes through, yes, trade with them as you wish. Try not to trade too much, because still you never know with some people, but just be careful on that. I'm not calling anyone out on that. I'm just saying be very careful on that. But my personal thing is, of course, go on to Yu-Gi-Oh! Trade Complaints. It's a Facebook group. You can actually see particular people's names that have been blacklisted, known scammers. You know, look at the person's name, see if the picture matches. Go onto those Yu-Gi-Oh! Trade Complaints. Ask those people, have any of them trade with this person? You know, check with other people. Have you traded with this guy? Know that they're safe. If you're trading online, you've got to be careful on that. But I mean, if you're trading in person, it's a lot safer. Just, as I said, just follow the rules of don't go in with a tin unless, you know, you're trading with just that one person. You can watch them carefully. I mean, just don't go in with the tin if you're going to locals. Go in with folders. You can trade with tins another time if that's really a big thing. If you actually have tins, I know it's very risky and doing all that, but just get yourself a folder and you'll save yourself in the long run. Watch the person, then watch you, check the prices on Troll and Toad, and at the very least, hopefully all these tips make sure that you don't get ripped off, that you don't get scammed or anything like that, because I would hate to see any of you guys scammed. I hate being scammed. I've been scammed in the past so many times, and I hate it. And the biggest thing is I hate knowing that people are still getting scammed, and I wish those people would just leave the community of, we don't want them people. People have been known for that, but there are trade complaints for that, guys. If you know someone that has actually scammed, check out Yu-Gi-Oh! Trade Complaints. Check out, you know, there's Dragon Ball Z trade complaints. There's trade complaints for every single one, I'm pretty sure. Just go on them, check the people out, and see if you know them. See if you've got screenshots. You can blacklist that person. You can make sure they are a scammer. If you've got proof, you can actually benefit the world, and you will be doing everyone a great deal of favor. But guys, just hopefully these tips have helped you. If you guys actually want to see, you know, me talk about more of this and actually go into my personal experiences, comment down below, and I'll be happy to talk about my personal experiences on how I've been scammed, how I've, you know, dealt with all that. But honestly, I just want to make sure you guys don't get scammed, and hopefully these tips help you, and also in the way of trading that they benefit you. And I mean by, seriously, think if you want the card. If you don't, you know, if you don't really need it, think. Because maybe that card you were trying to trade for, you could get something you really need. Or if you're a person that likes to trade for trades and then trade onwards, and what I mean by this is you get something for one person and they have something that you want and then you trade on, make sure that it's like in a local place that you're doing it all at once, or you can do it one after the other. Don't say, oh yeah, I can get this card for you, and then they say, oh yeah, I can give it to you in a week later. Don't do that. I mean, as nice as it is, a week later, they might already have the card some other way. I've done that personally. I've had to do that for people, and they end up having the card either way. So it's like, don't hold on to too many cards for people. If you can definitely trade on something, you know, just trade on it. If the person says, of course, no, I'll meet you tomorrow, yeah, trade it. If they say trade on a week later, hit them up right there and then. It's like, if you really want the card, you know, I'll trade for it, but you got to trade for me right now and then. I know it's really hard, but this person has a card I really, really need. I really, really want. I'm sorry. You know, be sorry and all that, but at the end of the day, you got to try and get the stuff that you really want, and that's just basic tips and tips that I personally follow that have really helped me out. And hopefully these tips actually do also help you guys out. And of course, guys, that's all I really want. I really want to help you guys out. But of course, that's it for this video, guys. That's all I really wanted to say. I wanted to go over my basic tips, my favorite tips, ways that have helped me trade, ways that have helped me get better with trading, and hopefully all these tips can help you. And of course, as always, I want you guys to comment down below what you guys want to see next. If it be tip videos, deck videos, if it be duel videos, comment any of it down below. If I'm able to make it, I'm happy to make it. But of course, till then and till the next one, just keep on smiling, enjoy the game of Yu-Gi-Oh! Or whatever TCG you play. And of course, till then, that ends it for me, guys. The Joker of Yu-Gi-Oh! Signing off.